Hi everybody. Today we're going to learn about a lesson which was written by Ki Rajanarayanan. The title of the lesson is The Chair. Okay, you can see the picture of a chair there. Okay, a house without a chair. Suddenly everyone in our house began to feel this way. That was it. It was put on the family agenda and discussions began. The day before, a family friend had paid us a visit. He was a sub-judge. Couldn't he have come like one of us in a vesti and shirt? No. He arrived in suit boot and all. There was only a three-legged stool in our house. It measured a mere 3/4 foot. To churn curd party, our grandmother would sit only on it. She was quite heavy. Our grandfather had asked the carpenter to make it somewhat broader. So, can you imagine a house without a chair? Yes, that was the time when there was not even a chair in some villages. So, this house also had no chair. Suddenly, all the family members began to feel this way. Which way? They brought the word chair or the thing chair into their discussions. So, what had really happened the day before, the previous day, one of his family friends, one of their family friend visited them. So, who was he? He was a sub judge, and he could have easily come with a vesti and shirt. No, he could have come in a vesti and shirt, but he arrived in a coat suit. Suit boot means coat, suit, and boot, everything. Very decently dressed. So, after his arrival, after his visiting, he must be made to sit. Yes, so they need to bring something to make him sit. But there was only a three-legged stool in their house, so it is almost less than a foot size. What for that particular stool is used to churn curd, okay, to take butter from the curd. So the churn means it's a container for making butter, okay, to move vigorously, to swirl and make butter out of curd. So who used to do that? Party grandmother would sit only on it and churn the curd. She was quite heavy, so that's why the grandfather had asked the carpenter to make this tool somewhat broader to make grandmother sit comfortably. Okay. The subject too was a little portly. Since we didn't possess any other furniture, we brought that for him. Placing one hand on its edge, he made to sit down. One wretched thing about this stool: if you didn't place the weight exactly above the legs, it would topple over. Ever so many times we had fallen down when we stood on it carelessly to steal ghee from the rope net. Poor thing, just as we were about to caution the subject, he fell down with a thud and rolled over. Me, my brother, and my littlest sister couldn't contain our giggles, so we ran to the back garden. Just as we thought our chuckles had subsided, our sister would mimic the subject, leaning her hand and rolling on the floor. Her laughter only lengthened. So this particular paragraph says, the previous day the subject also was a fat man. In this house there were no other furniture, so they brought this particular stool. So he placed one hand on its edge and he made to sit down. He had to sit on that. But there is a bad thing. There is a wretched thing about this stool. You have to place the weight exactly above the legs, otherwise you would topple over and fall down. Why? Because so many times the family members had fallen down. If they stand carelessly, what for they used to stand? They used to stand to steal ghee. Where was that ghee container kept? There is a word, rope net. Those days they used to have net using the rope which will be hanging attached to the ceiling, so they will keep the container safe from all ants or something. Okay, so they just to steal that ghee from the rope net, they use this tool. But if they place the weight properly above the legs, it's fine. Otherwise, they would fall down. Many times they had fallen down. Okay, so they were about to caution, they were about to warn the subject. But before they warned, he fell down with a great sound and rolled over. Immediately, what happened? The narrator, his brother, and his littlest sister could not contain their giggles. They started laughing, so they ran back to the garden. And once they stopped laughing or stopped giggling, they are slowly coming back, but his sister would mimic the subject. Mimic means imitate how he fell down, how he kept his hand over it, how he balanced it very wrongly, and how he toppled over and he fell down. She was imitating that, and that made their laughter to last for some more time. Okay, there was another reason for our giggles. The memory of a parent suppressing the giggles in front of the guest who had tumbled over. So immediately the subject fell down. These children had run away to the garden, which is at the back. But the parents, they were suppressing. They could not giggle, but they were about to giggle, but they were suppressing giggle. So this also made the children, the narrator, his brother, and his littlest children, to giggle more. That also was one of the reasons for their giggling. So when they finished laughing on everyone's behalf and pussyfooted into the house, the stout guest was not to be seen, and neither was his tool. Did he take it away with him? Asked my sister to me. So once they finished laughing, they are slowly, pussyfooted means how the cat walks quietly, with secret steps. Likewise, these children also are coming into the house. But to their surprise, the guest was not to be seen. The subject was not to be seen. Not only the subject, neither the stool, nor the stool. Neither the subject nor the stool were to be seen. So the sister started asking, Judge has gone out taking the stool with him, asked his sister to him. After this incident, it was decided that a chair would be made for our home. The one practical difficulty in getting it made was that there wasn't a single chair in our village to show as a model. Besides, there wasn't a single carpenter either who knew how to make one. Okay, so immediately after this incident, what they decided that they should bring a chair to their home. But there is a difficulty, practical difficulty in getting it made. What is that? If you want to make something, you have to show that as a model to the person who makes. But there was not a single chair in their village. Just imagine, no one's house has a chair to be shown as a model to the carpenter to make it. And even prettier thing is that there wasn't a single carpenter either who knew how to make it. No one knows how to make it. Carpenters are there, but they don't know how to make it because they have not seen. So such was the time. Okay, no problem. We can buy one from the town, suggested my brother, Peddanna. Our father rejected it, saying it wouldn't be sturdy. Attai, our aunt, said that there was a skilled carpenter in the neighboring village, that there wasn't a chair he hadn't made, and that the governor himself had praised him. So, Peddanna, elder brother, what he says, no problem. Even if there is no model chair or if there is no one who knows to make a chair, no problem. We can buy one from the town. Okay, they can easily. But the father rejected it. Why? If you buy, it will not be that strong. Sturdy means strong. So generally they may use some local wood to make that, so it would not be strong. So fathers the father suggested not to buy from outside. Then immediately Attai or aunt said that there was a skilled carpenter. Okay, father's sister Attai. Okay, she's coming out with an idea that there was a skilled carpenter in the neighboring village, and he has made all forms, all types of chairs, and even he has got praises from the governor. Immediately, when my mother heard my aunt's second sentence, she turned her face as if to say, yes, yes, she's seen everything. She did not say that, but her look on the face reveals that Attai knows everything. That was the expression shown by the mother. Okay, my father called the worker, dispatched him to the carpenter's village, and came and sat with us. Now there was discussion on the kind of wood to be used for the chair. Okay, immediately father called a worker and sent that person to the carpenter's village where Attai was talking about. That means Attai was talking about a place, no, neighboring village. There, this particular person was sent, and he came. Father came and sat with the other family members. So there was a discussion. What is the discussion? If we are going to make a chair, what kind of wood to be used for the chair? So the topic is from the chair. Now it has moved to what kind of wood to be used for the chair. One is coming out with an idea. Teak is the best. That's what will be light to lift and carry around and be sturdy at the same time, said our grandmother, pressing her stretched leg. Our party was extremely fond of her legs. He was forever stroking them. So who is coming out with this idea? One lady, old lady, that was her grandmother, stretching her legs and pressing her legs, and she comes out with an idea that teak is the best wood that would be light to lift, and also at the same time it will be strong enough. At that moment, our maternal uncle, Mamanar, mother's brother, okay, maternal uncle is coming. They are calling him as Mamanar. Generally they call as Mama. So you can see so many Tamil words because the writer is a Tamil writer, and mostly he has written many stories with the background of the village. So Mamanar walked in. Peddanna ran and brought the stool. Again Peddanna, the elder brother, brings the same stool. For a while the whole house spluttered into giggles before things settled down. So as soon as Mamanar came, the maternal uncle came, the elder brother brought the stool, and again they might have thought about the earlier situations or earlier incident, and they started giggling. Okay. Mamanar himself had chosen a spot to sit whenever he visited our house. Chop off his head, and he would still sit there and nowhere else. He would lean against the pillar, adjoining the wall to the south of the storeroom. The first thing he would do as soon as he sat down was to loosen his tuft, give it a good shake, scratch his head, and tie it back tightly. He observed this ritual unfailingly. Then he would inspect the floor around him. Didn't see any money falling from your head, Anna would say with an impudent smile. So what will happen? Mamana, that means mother's brother, okay, maternal uncle. What he would do, he would definitely choose one particular spot to sit. Whenever he visits the house, he would sit only at that particular spot. Even if you cut off his head, he would sit only there, nowhere else. Okay, and in the same way he would lean against the pillar. The pillar is just adjoining the wall, next to the wall, to the south of the storeroom. So this was his usual position or place where the maternal uncle sits. That is the spot. So as soon as he sits, what he does, the first thing he would do as soon as he sat down was to loosen his tuft. So you can see an image there. There is a tuft, and he will just give a good shake. He will just shake his head after loosening it, and he scratches his head and tie it back tightly. So this is the normal thing after he sits, he does. Okay, so this one, he observed this ritual unfailingly. You can see this happening every time he comes and sits there. So then he would inspect the floor around him. As soon as he loosen and tighten, he would just inspect the floor. That's why the elder brother is asking, Anna is asking, what, as soon as you loosen your tuft, is there anything like coin falling down? Didn't see any money falling from your head? Are you checking whether something has fallen from your head? With a disrespectful smile. Impudent smile means a disrespectful smile. So this particular paragraph tells us that how uncle chooses a spot and what is the ritual thing he does and how he inspects the house and how Anna reacts with a disrespectful smile. Okay. He would always be pierced with such paper arrows whenever he visited us. He would sit mum with a smile like a stone pillayar, as if to say, you are my relatives, if you don't tease me, who will? When our ridicule overstepped the limits, Amma would pretend to chide us. The last word always ended in, you donkeys. Okay, so what will happen? Every time he comes and sits, such paper arrows, would pierce him, like this giggling and all these things, or compared to paper arrows whenever he visits us. So, but he won't react. He would just sit mum, keep quiet, but he just gives a smile. How he sits? Like a stone pillayar. As if to say, that means nothing moves, just a smile. And he says something. You are my relatives. If you don't tease me, who will? Like that. But when our ridicule goes beyond the limits, Amma, because maternal brother no, maternal uncle no, so Amma would pretend to chide us, rebuke us. Hey, keep quiet. And finally the last word always ended in, you donkeys, why are you teasing my brother? Like that. When she says this, when their teasing goes beyond the limits. Okay, as soon as Mamanar sat down, Amma went towards the kitchen. So as soon as the brother of the mother, comes and sit down, mother, that means Amma, will go to the kitchen. So like a lamb, Appa followed her. Wherever Amma goes, like a lamb, Appa also follows. Okay. Then in a while, Amma appeared in the passage, a silver tumbler of buttermilk seasoned with asafoetida in her hand, followed by Appa, who, unseen by her, aided her movements for her benefit, as if to say, a brother has come, it seems. Look at it, taking buttermilk for him with so much care. The aroma of the buttermilk and the asafoetida made us want to drink it right away. So what will happen? As soon as uncle comes, Amma will go to the kitchen, followed by Appa, and Amma comes out with a silver tumbler of buttermilk, and that gives the aroma of what? Asafoetida in her hand, followed by Appa. So mom comes at the front, and Appa is coming at the back, but he would be aping the movement for the benefit of the children. He would be doing how his wife is walking with a silver glass, carrying the buttermilk. He would aid, he would imitate as if the mother is doing, just to make the children happy. But the aroma of the buttermilk and the asafoetida made us want to drink it right away. The aroma, the smell of asafoetida with buttermilk, tempts them to drink the buttermilk right away. In such combination, she would bring for her brother, that is their maternal uncle. In the story is called as Mamanar. Okay, we believe that Mamanar visited us mainly for what? To drink buttermilk. The buttermilk from our cow was that divine. Besides, we thought that our uncle was the stingiest person in the village. We firmly believe he never gave away anything to anyone. So, the way Mamanar comes to the house and visits, seems to be like just to drink what? Buttermilk. The buttermilk from their cow was that divine. So the taste of the milk adds, quality to the buttermilk. So what about his uncle? His uncle was a stingiest person. He doesn't spend generously. In the village, we firmly believed he never gave away anything to anyone. So he was the stingiest person in the village. It is given in the superlative degree. So no one is like their uncle in being stingy. Okay, he himself had gone to Kannavaram to buy this famed black-tongued milk cow for his sister. His mother's, that means Amma's brother. He has gone to a place called Kannavaram to buy this famous milk cow for his sister. So my younger brother and sister doted on its calf. So the narrator's brother and sister, they were very much what eager to look at the calf, the young one of the milk cow. Whenever he came over and just before he left, he always went around the cow, gave it a pat, and uttered words of praise even if he was thrifty with them. Okay, he was not a generous person, but he was generous enough to praise that cow and give a pat and utter words of praise. Whenever he comes, he sits in a choosy place. He does the traditional thing of loosening his tuft, and he drinks this buttermilk with sweet aroma, and he goes to the cow and give it a pat and utter words of praise. This was the usual thing that he does whenever he visits their house. My little siblings always had this big fear that once the milk dried up, the cow would be taken away to his house along with the calf. They liked the calf very much. So they had a fear, if the milk dried up, what would happen? Mamanar would take the cow along with the calf, but they are very much attached to the calf. They love, it is their beloved one. Okay, the calf is the beloved one. That is why the little sister had the fear. So the anticipation of this imagined separation only increased their fondness for the calf and the bitterness towards Mamanar. So two different emotions. If milk dried up, Mamanar would take the cow. So what would happen to my calf? So how many days the calf is going to be there? So there is increase in fondness towards the calf and increased in bitterness. This uncle only would take the calf. No. So that is why they have bitter feeling towards Mamanar. Whenever he relished the buttermilk, these small children punched and pinched with their, not hands, just stares. Okay. Whenever he was tasting the buttermilk, they would take, once the milk is dried up, you take the cow and the calf. So in their stare itself, they would pinch and punch the Mamanar. Okay. Mamanar showed interest in the debate about the chair. Now he is also coming to the debate of buying the chair. He let it be known that he too would like one to be made for him. He is also telling that he also wants one to be made for him. We too were glad to have a partner in their enterprise. So in the busy discussion of buying a chair, he is also giving a thought that he also wants one chair for himself. Mamanar said that the neem tree was the best. It would keep the body cool and keep off pines. So if you buy a chair, you have to buy with a neem tree, because that would keep the body cool. And if your body is cool, the disease in the body piles, it comes due to the intense heat of the body. That would be cured. Your body would be cool, and you will be free from this particular piles. When he expounded on the neem tree, Appa looked at him with round-eyed astonishment. Only the day before, Appa had been talking to a farm hand about cutting down an ancient diamond-hard neem tree in our cattle pasture and laying it out to dry. So as he was giving the thought about the neem tree, Mamanar was giving the thought about the neem tree, Appa looked with round-eyed astonishment, because Appa had been talking to a farmhand about cutting down one hard neem tree where for the cattle pasture, and he has let it out to dry. So it is already there. But the elder brother, Peddanna, said, making it out of Poovarusu would be really good. It's a fine grained wood without knots and glossy and strong too. So, but the elder brother is giving another suggestion. Poovarusu wood. There is a tree called Poovarusu. That would be really good. It does not have any knots. It would be very glossy, shiny, and also at this it is very strong. So he is giving the suggestion that the chair can be made of Poovarusu wood. Our elder sister said, all these are light color woods, ugly to look at. After a while, we'll begin to even detest them. I am saying it will be best to make it the color of ripe sugar cane or dark like sesame oil cake, but it's your wish. The vision of a highly comfortable chair in black wood with a mirror-like gleam, with perfectly shaped front legs and curved back legs, yawning languorously to match the recline of the chair, flashed before our eyes. So the elder sister is also coming out with an idea that all their suggestions are ugly to look at, or after a while it will lose its shining. They would feel disliking at that. So she is suggesting that something like sesame oil cake, she is giving what this vision of highly comfortable chair. See, ripe sugar cane or dark like sesame oil cake. She is giving some other suggestion, but she gives the final decision to be made by the elders. So, but in front of their eyes, there comes a chair with black wood with a mirror-like gleam, shining, perfectly shaped front legs and curved back legs. Just reclining in that, flashes before their eyes. The vision was like that. Everyone felt that she was right. So it was arranged for 2 chairs to be made immediately, one for the family members and the other one for Mamanar. When the 2 chairs arrived, we didn't know which one to keep and which to send to Mamanar. If you looked at one, you did not need to see the other. Both are looking same. It is said that they were like Rama and Lakshmana. We kept one and sent the other to Mamanar. We had a doubt and we sent the better one to him. Now both 2 chairs arrived, and both the chairs were looking great. And if you look at this one and that one, you will not find the difference, because both were looking the same. Both of them were looking like Rama and Lakshmana. So they kept one for themselves, and the other chair was sent to Mamanar. So they had a doubt whether they had sent a better one, but both were looking the same. Okay, one by one we took turns to sit on the chair. So chair was there, so everyone is trying their turns. Never felt like getting up from it. Now if one person sits, he is not coming, he is not willing to get up from that. But had to, because others too had to be given a chance. Peddanna sat and exclaimed appreciatively, "Ah!" He ran his hands over the arms of the chair. He sat cross-legged on it. Attai said, "We have to stitch a cover for it, otherwise it will get soiled." My little sister and brother fought over it frequently. She would shout at him, "You've been sitting on it for so long, get up, I want to sit now." So everyone is taking chance to sit on the chair, but no one is willing to get up. But they had to, because everyone should have their chance of sitting. Okay, so that was a very nice chair. Everyone is enjoying. Even Pedana is saying, "Aha, beautiful chair!" And he's running over. He's running his hands over the arms of the chair, and he's also trying to sit cross-legged. Atte is telling, hey, we have to stitch a cover, otherwise it will be spoiled or soiled. So little sister and brother, they are fighting frequently. This is my chance. You are sitting for a long time. You stand up. Let me sit for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like that. No, they were enjoying sitting on the chair. Yo, I've just sat down. Look at her, Amma. He would say, his face puckering as if about to cry. The news of the arrival of a chair spread like fire around the village. People, children, and adults arrived in hordes to see the chair. A few even stroked it. An old man lifted the chair, quite heavy. He's made it sturdy, he commended the carpenter. So, sitting one by one, they are trying to sit on the chair, but the narrator's face was shrunken, as if about to cry, because they are very happy about the arrival of the chair. And this news spread like fire around the village. Everyone, children are coming, adults are coming, and they are just coming in groups and numbers to see the chair. Some people are just patting it and checking the quality of it. An old man lifted the chair and said, it's very heavy, it has been made very strong, and is appreciating the person who has made it. A few days passed by. One night someone knocked on the door. Vedana, who was sleeping in the inner pile, opened the door. They said that an important person had just died in the village and that they needed the chair. So what happened? One night, there was a knock. Vedana went and found that there was a person, important person, had just died in the village, and they want this particular chair to make the crops sit on it. Since the deceased means dead one, was also known to us. The dead person was also a known one to this family. So we too attended the funeral. It was on our chair that they had propped up the eminent person. So on this chair only, the corpse, the dead body, was propped up. Till now in our village, they always seated the corpse only on the floor. A grinding stone was laid on the floor and propped up to keep the corpse from rolling away. A gunny sack stuffed with millet straw would be rested against it. Against this bolster, the corpse would be placed as if reaching on it. From where our townspeople picked up this new fad of propping up a corpse on a chair, we had no clue. But from that day, troubles began for our chair. They had moved from floor tickets to chair tickets. So, how they used to make the corpse sit, if you see, they use a grinding stone and also a gunny sack stuffed with millet straw. So somehow they balance the stone and the gunny sack. They make the corpse in a reclining position. But now, after the arrival of the chair, they are not using anymore the stone, the grinding stone and gunny sack. Instead, they are using the chair. So now they had moved from floor tickets to chair tickets. So when the occasion in that household was over, they left the chair in our front yard. The children of the house were scared even to look at the chair. We had the servant take it to the well and give it a good hard scrub with hay and wash it down with 15 big buckets of water. Even after several days, no one had the guts to sit on it. We didn't know how to bring it back into use. So that particular funeral or occasion was over. They left the chair in our front yard because the dead body was made to sit. So they didn't want the chair to be brought inside the house. So the children of the house were scared to sit on the chair because of making the dead body lie there or propped up there. So servant took it to the well and gave it a good hard scrub. How many times? With 15 big buckets of water, he washed it down. Even after several days, no one had the guts to sit on it because the dead body was propped up there. We didn't know how to bring it back into use. Okay, so this is the first part of this lesson. The second part will be taught and sent to you in the next link in the next class. Thank you.